those of you. For those of you who think these protests have gone too far, you clearly do not know what it is to never be heard. We protest in peace, kneeling with the proclamation of injustice and inequality on our tongues. And you turn a blind eye. Not only that, you change the narrative to sound as though we've dishonored our nation with our truth. For those of you who say these protests have gone too far, you sit in your homes weeping in silence, behind closed doors, while Black and brown mothers sit in hospital waiting rooms and funeral homes, mustering up the courage to say goodbye to their children, cradling their other children while praying that they won't be next. For those of you who say that these protests have gone too far, you couldn't begin to understand a struggle of hundreds of years of spilled blood, open fire hoses, lynchings, beatings, rapes, stolen babies, families torn apart as masters built their workforce. Infraction after infraction after infraction. Breathless for so many years. We couldn't breathe 400 years ago, and we can't breathe now. We can't breathe. Choked up by your silence and your unwillingness to move from your cushy chair, writing your crafty social media post that sits well with you as a good deed, but reflects nothing more than another face in the crowd. For those of you who say these protests have gone too far, you never have had a Black son. You could never imagine the conversations that have to be had with my Black son at the age of 3 and every year since. You will never explain to your child that you can do everything right in life, only to be killed wrongfully. You've never had to prepare your child on how to handle a simple traffic stop that in so many instances have turned into death sentences. You've never prayed so hard that your child makes it back from the grocery store safely. You've never seen your child's face in those like Emmett Till, Trayvon Martin, Sean Bell, Oscar Grant, Tamir Rice, George Floyd, and the list just keeps growing. For those of you who say these protests have gone too far, you've never had a Black daughter. You've never had to explain to her that she is Black and that is different and different is good. You've never had to tell her that people will look at her sun-soaked dark pigment, bountiful hips, shapely body, the identity in her hair, the confidence in her stride, and her astute tongue, and still tell her that she is less, while you rush to surgeons and tanning beds in hopes to look just like her. You will never have to rebuild that child daily, because when she left my home, she was not broken. You sent her back broken. For those of you who say these protests have gone too far, you've never armed yourself with degrees, Bibles, and facts as people use privilege and access to steal a college seat you earned. You've never fought to succeed more than your parents because they sacrificed to get you there, only to be told you were handed your seat by way of affirmative action. when you know you earned that shit. You've never. For those of you who say these protests have gone too far, shut up or stand up. I don't want your hashtags, your tears at home, your shaking heads, your sad eyes. I want your actions. Examine yourselves. Stop being part of the problem. Get your boots on the ground and your face in the forefront instead of peeking out from the crowd.